everyone, and welcome back to the Bitter Geeks Podcast. This is episode 4, where we're going to be talking about everything that we love and appreciate about the only DCEU film that's come out this year, Kathy Yan's Birds of Prey. This is a movie that I really love, and unfortunately I wasn't able to see it in theaters before the pandemic started, but I fell in love with the movie immediately, and it's just something I constantly talk about all the time. And so today we're going to take the time for everyone here to talk about it and like all the things we love about it and just little things here and there that we want to discuss and share with you guys. So joining me here, if you listen to any of our podcasts in the past, I'm sure you recognize these people. So if each of you guys want to go around and introduce yourselves to the listeners.
Hey everybody, it's Camila first. I'm doing this again on Twitter, and this is my second podcast, so I'm very excited and also still very new.
So this is Alex Speed. I'm Alex BLM Speed on Twitter, and it's nice to see you guys.
I'm Danielle, and I am the Bravest Heart on Twitter and still a Social Justice League on Tumblr. I never update.
Hi, I'm Rebecca. You guys can find me on Twitter at Rebecca_MJ12, and I'm just like here. I don't know.
It's not that formal, guys, I promise.
Hey, I'm Dash. I'm Lee-N on Twitter. I forgot what I was on. And this is my second podcast, so I'm super excited to be here.
All right, so like I said, we're going to be talking about Birds of Prey here today, and this is a movie that everyone here, like, we've all been, like, really passionate about, really vocal about. And, well, most of us here, I think, Rebecca, you just saw it for the first time recently, right? Or have you just rewatched it recently?
Rewatched it. How did you get that I didn't watch it before,
okay,
bro?
Well, you mentioned the chat the other day they hadn't seen it.
I
I'm like,
saw it in theaters and you didn't, so
damn, called out. Damn. All right, we're going there. It's okay. I guess
Bitter about
yeah. So like we've all like seen the movie, obviously, and while I'm sorry that for anyone listening that we didn't do a review or anything sooner. Like we had like a really long gap between our last DC Films podcast episode and before we started doing Bitter Geeks again. Because obviously I would have loved to talk about this at the time, but I was really busy at the time. I was busy working, and my family and we all just moved into our new apartment, and it was my daughter's birthday around that time, and then the whole pandemic started, and then so basically it was just a unfortunate time for me, and I'm sure for other people as well. So unfortunately we couldn't line everything up, but now here we are. How many months later? 6 months later? Oops. But
yes.
Hey, better late than never. So we're each going to go around and kind of share our own thoughts and experiences with the movie, and then kind of go on from there throughout the chat and discussion, and then we'll get into our usual rant/madness, as I'm sure you guys have heard us go on in the past. All right, so Camila, since you're definitely one of the new ones here, and I know you're loving the movie, why don't you share a bit of your experience with it and some of the things that you loved about it?
So, I think I've watched it like 4 times or 3 times. I don't know. It feels like a lot, and I rewatched it last night again, and I have like a shit ton of which I hope to get to at least some of them. But basically, I think it's like my favorite. It's definitely like a top 3 DCU movie for me. Mm-hmm. And I just love how unapologetically feminine. I think like that's a huge point for me. The soundtrack is fire. I love the action. I don't know. It's just I just enjoy it, and it's super rewatchable. Every time I see it, it's like I love this, and I will never stop. So that's basically it for me.
I completely agree. Yeah, it's probably my number 3 right now, like right behind like Batman v Superman and Man of Steel. But I feel like to me it gets better every watch. I love it so much.
Yes. Also, one more thing. I think it gets better with every rewatch because it is kind of, the structure is really crazy. Mm-hmm. So, like, the first time, it's kind of hard to watch. So then if you rewatch it, then you can keep up better. Mm-hmm. And, like, it just comes more naturally in that. I really dig that.
Yeah. It's so layered, too. Like, you notice things on each rewatch.
Yes.
And new. And that's so important. That's, like, a DCEU thing, I would say.
Totally. I don't know. I got some facts. I don't know if you want me to dump them right now.
No, go right ahead.
Like, you guys can go. I don't know. I could talk about Doja Cat opening the movie with Boss Bitch for like 30 minutes, but I will not do that.
No, I agree. The entire use of the soundtrack was just, it was perfectly synced in a way that, like, we all know what happened with Suicide Squad, but just, like, I know soundtracks can sometimes, like, pull you out of a movie, but I think in this particular movie, the soundtrack adds a lot more to it, and it adds a layer of, like, fun, a layer of, like, realism, but, like, it's just a really good fucking soundtrack. Like, there's not a single bad song on it.
Yes, totally. And one more thing, that it's kind of like a super great balance of contemporary stuff, like with all the rap and like the hip hop and all the pop stuff. And then in the action scenes, we get like classic rock, like Black Betty and Barracuda. And I just love that balance. And I think it's super great. And those action scenes, like those songs always get me pumped up.
Mm-hmm. Same here. I totally agree. So Al, I know we caught you at a bad time today because you were sleeping not that long ago.
Oh no, I was joking. I got my sleep schedule back. I'm fine.
So yeah, what was your experience of the movie, and like what were the things that you enjoyed?
Well, see, I actually went to the movie with my little brother, who absolutely adored Suicide Squad. Like, if there was any comic book movie that my brother loved, like, to death, it was Suicide Squad. So, you know, I was kind of expecting more or less the same stuff for Birds of Prey, but, like, you know, not as tampered with. But, you know, I had my expectations. I wasn't too big of a fan of the first trailer that came out. Like, I think I had to watch it a couple of times to really, like, love the music for that trailer, because I still listen to that song, like, almost on repeat all the time. But when I first saw, I think, the costume trailer, I think you guys know what I mean, the costume trailer. For that one, yeah, I think that's what really hooked me into the movie, because one thing I like about movies, I like aesthetic. I like the aesthetics of Birds of Prey. I knew it was going to be sort of like a stylish, urban kind of film that, you know, focused a lot on, you know, the style of the characters. And that's something I really pay attention to a lot, like the costume designs and the way the scenery is set up, the way they go about the music, the action, the cinematography, and things like that. So upon watching the film, I was, like, more so impressed by like I said, the urban setting, like it taking place in these really dark, colorful urban locations that, you know, I really cling to. And I think I was talking about it before we started the whole the podcast, but I loved the action scenes in this movie. I would honestly say that Birds of Prey has some of the best fighting cinematography that I've seen, like, in the, you know, DC movies in general. Because the way they, like, especially with Harley Quinn and how she implements her acrobatics with her combat. And I especially, because one thing about me, I love baseball bats in movies, and I loved, you know, Harley with her baseball bat in Suicide Squad, and I was kind of expecting another kind of fight scene like that, and I was pleasantly surprised at us getting it again, but, like, better, you know, like, way better.
I have a cool fact about bat stuff.
Oh, I can literally listen to bat stuff all the time.
Okay, here's my cool fact. So Margot did 4 months training in total, and nearly 2 months was just, like, learning how to handle the bat, because she did all that twirling by herself in that action scene. Yeah, the whole twirly thing, she did that. That was Margot.
Wait, really? Oh,
yeah.
Oh, shit, I did not know that. I didn't know that. Oh, my God.
I found out 2 hours ago.
Oh, my God. I did not know that. Holy
Margot,
shit.
so much for this movie. Like, they all did, like, 90% of their stunts.
Wow.
So, there's a whole bunch. Oh, if I can just say one more thing also, that when you mentioned how cool the action is and like they all have their fighting styles, like rewatching it, I'm always struck by really how distinct it is for everyone. And you're right, it's like Harley has her acrobatics, Black Canary does those high kicks and just like it's all kicking and like street style.
Yeah.
And Helena is an assassin and she's like super effective. Like, it's just super cool. Oh, and Renee is just punching stuff.
Yeah, Renee. I noticed, like, Renee used a lot of, she'd had a lot of, I think it was, like, a mix of karate and probably UFC martial arts training mixed with, mixed with some use with the baton. And then, it was mostly, like, karate kind of brawler style with the way that she swings her fists.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I have to say for now. Before I go into like fight choreography talk.
No, yeah, I completely agree. That's the nice thing, like, because I've seen some like the behind the scenes featurettes of the movie and stuff. Just like the same amount of detail they put into the fight scenes and like give everyone their own sense of style as far as how they fight. Where it's not just like it's not like the Avengers where like everything is basically the same and they all fight exactly the same. Like you guys bring up good points of like Harley with her bat and her acrobatics and Diana with their high kicks and Renee with like her just kind of like just straightforward punching dudes in the face kind of thing, and like Helena's, and then even like Cass, like they're all different. Especially I just love the set that they use for that because one, it's very like I love the funhouse and I love how it's like kind of Harley / Joker-y based. But even then, it looks like a fun ass set to work on, especially with the hands like flinging back and forth and how they can use that in the scene, and just like everything about that last fight scene was really good. And even the actions in the previous scene, especially like when Harley breaks into the jail, I love that sequence. That's probably one of my favorite sequences in the entire movie.
Oh my god, I watch that sequence every single day, especially nowadays. That scene is like
fire.
Nirvana to me.
It's so good.
And I love the smoke scene. The smoke aesthetic. When she comes out the smoke with the smile, that was like that was comic book cinematography to me.
Bisexual smoke.
Yeah, I was just going to say, the bisexual smoke.
I have another fact.
Yeah, go ahead.
About that police station sequence. It took 6 days to film. And the smoke was toxic, so they had to do that real fast. Yeah.
Why was the smoke toxic?
I know.
I couldn't find non-toxic smoke.
Because of Britney Spears and what Toxic has done for the LGBT community. No, I meant it's because of the coloring. It's like really strong to get that kind of hue. So, and they had to do so much of it. So they had to do that super quick and get it in and out, and then like clear the area.
Well, damn, that sucks. I mean, it's beautiful, but damn, I hope no one got like permanent like lung damage from it. Shit. But yeah, I really loved that part of the movie, and I'll talk about that later on as we go, because I know we're trying to introduce everyone's thoughts and opinions and everything. So speaking of Danielle, what was your experience with the movie? And I'm sure I know you have some thoughts too.
Well, I have been shaking since this movie was announced. I can't fucking believe it. I still can't fucking believe it. But I never ever would have imagined. Like, what we ended up getting was like beyond anything I thought was even possible, which like made me super happy, super excited, but also like super angry, because it seems like it was possible all this time to just casually insert some queer characters and just like just fucking do it, just like pull the trigger on that shit. And we owe Kathy big time for just taking that for granted and just making that happen. I would have never thought that we would get both of those milestones at the same time. I wouldn't have thought it was possible. Like, I thought that the fact that this is a girl team movie, the fact that this is unapologetically feminine, the fact that we got a, Harley Quinn led piece of media, you would think, like, I would immediately have thought that, like, we would have had to pay for that through the nose. The content would have been like, shut down, and it would have been like, well, you're lucky you're here in the first place kind of shit. But it seems like against all odds, Kathy made exactly the movie she wanted to, and I would like to know what her magic trick is for handling Warner Brothers, because everything about this movie is just so pure, so off the cuff, so real. It's a piece of cinema. You know, there was nothing about this movie that was crowdsourced or audience tested or anything. Like, they made the movie they wanted to make, and it's very, very clear. And the palpable difference between seeing movies that are made by committee and then seeing a movie like this that is clearly just like the love and tender care of one person or a group of people, really. It's amazing that they got Warner Brothers to leave them alone long enough to make it happen. It's amazing that it got made in the first place. It's amazing that we hit all these milestones. It's amazing that this movie has 3 queer women in it, just casually. I thought for sure this would be like, you know, maybe one soft wink to Harley. And what we got was, I mean, a queer woman of color over 50, right?
Yep.
Over 50. They don't even acknowledge that we live that long. Ever. Ever. Like, the idea that there are queer women being represented and they get to live until they're 50? That's fucking wild. Like, I didn't realize that we were dying off in movies until I saw her on the...
God, the bar is so damn low.
Fucking screen.
The bar is in hell.
Like, we're alive, people. She could have been the worst character ever, and I still would have been like, you guys...
She's alive.
Still 50. She's alive.
And in the end, when she got shot... But
oh my god, the way I screamed when she got shot.
I could die. What the fuck? What version of reality is this that's not the one I've been living in? It's just astounding. Every single minute of it, I'm just blown away. I just don't understand how she got away with it. I don't understand what universe this movie was transported from, but it's like not the one I live in. It's crazy. But yeah, for me, just like bottom line, in terms of representation, I was always going to massively fillet this movie. I was always going to flip my fucking nut. Like, I was never going to be okay. Shit.
I feel this so much. Danielle, thank you.
What a movie.
Oh, God.
Okay, Kathy Ann, if
This
you're
is
ever
for the
listening to this
queers.
podcast, I do want you to know that we are fairly normal people, but it's just...
That was a very normal
Okay.
response, Nick. I don't know what you're talking about.
Look, I've said this before. Kathy is fine. She knows exactly the movie she made.
Yep.
And she knows exactly the kind of little freaks that are going to be drawn to it. So she is not blushing right now. She's listening. I know you're not blushing. Because I saw your movie. And it's fucking awesome. And it's for weirdos. It's for weirdos and queers.
Yes. Oh, God.
Rebecca, how do you feel about this?
Yes, Rebecca, say something.
Nice segue there, Danielle.
Right here now?
Yeah, Rebecca, you can go.
Go for it.
Okay, because I just hear people breathing and being happy, so, you know, I don't know what's if I can talk yet. It's funny, I can literally hear how happy you all are, just, like, huffing joyously in the background.
Make fun of the breathing. I'm supposed to...
No, everybody's doing it. So I had seen this movie when it first came out. I don't know, was it February or March? It was like the Stone Ages before, everything happened.
It must have been March because it was like either right before or right after my birthday.
This March. Definitely March.
Okay. So, yeah, I saw it then, and then I just watched it, at, 1 p.m. before we started. And I have to agree with Al, I am a big sucker for aesthetics, and I'm huge on cinematography. As long as a movie has good cinematography, I could care less about anything else, because I'm just it's pretty. And so this movie is pretty, and it also has a great plot, and it's a whole lot of fun. And it's funny because, whenever people talk about how the DCEU should be fun, I don't think this is what they have in mind, but this is what, fun is.
Which is great. This is a party.
Yeah, it's just...
The coked up party is what it is.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So, it's a lot of fun. It has great characters. It has great character dynamics. And I think it's kind of I was thinking today while I was watching it that this is what Suicide Squad could have been if it wasn't so manhandled by Warner Brothers. It could have been this really awkward team up movie, but it didn't really turn out that way. So this movie is really the dream, if you will, when it comes to team ups, I think. And also, something I really appreciate about it is that Harley's journey isn't shown as something easy, because a lot of the time, back when Suicide Squad had just come out, and also the intervening years between then and now, a lot of people have talked about how she should break up with the Joker, which I think most people agree was a good idea. But when people talked about it, they talked about it like she was just going to wake up one day and be I'm an independent queen and I don't need a man. And I was she's been attached to this guy for so long. It's not it's just going to be easy for her to just wake up one day and realize she deserves rights. It's going to be a struggle. She's going to have to really reflect on herself and, deal with her own personal issues. And so what I liked about this movie is that it emancipates her, but it also shows how she has to kind of learn who Harley Quinn is. And
so Looney Tunes, but it's so real.
Yeah. And it kind of did some interesting world building with Gotham too, because I know we're always Gotham is the skyscrapers and Batman punching people in the dirty alleyways, but this movie really showed daylight Gotham. It's still scary and Gotham-y, because all these scary people are running around and cutting people's faces off, but it's kind of everyday Gotham, which is an interesting view that we haven't really gotten before, because before it's just been the mansions and the boardrooms and the alleyway that we drive through very quickly so that we can go beat up a bad guy. But this movie had the marketplace and the restaurants and all of these other places that kind of made Gotham feel a regular city. Well, not exactly regular, but a city where things can just I don't, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really appreciate that about this movie, and the fight scenes are awesome, and the characters are badass, and it was just a really effortless film. So yeah, I know it didn't get a lot of attention when it came out, but I think it'll probably become a cult classic outside of the DCU fandom, probably, as people more and more people watch it and realized the value that this movie has and everything.
Mm-hmm. And that's one thing, the thing about this movie, it is kind of nice that, I'm of two minds of this. So, I'm glad that it is kind of small, that, it's a movie that, we can claim, that, the masses can't just, jump on and hate like they do with every other DC movie. But at the same time, being transparent, Warner Brothers did a terrible job marketing this movie. Like, there was like no promotion outside of like a couple of trailers and like, a couple of promotional bits. Like, I had to like I'd go on and explain to people that this movie was, one, coming out, and two, what it was. And like it was just so hard, because you would think like Warner Bros. Would want to bank on Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn, because she was like, do you remember when Suicide Squad came out, how many damn Harleys there were that year for Halloween? And
Yeah,
like,
she
like
was
every
biggest thing
convention,
ever.
like she was like one of the biggest things to come out of that movie, if not the biggest. And like, I'm just surprised that like Warner Brothers didn't try to bank on that more. Like, it's such a good movie. Like, I don't understand like why they didn't put more effort into it. Like, did they just like not have that much faith? And like, look, the movie didn't have the biggest budget. I don't think it even had like Shazam's budget, or if it did, it was fairly close. But at the same time, it's like, okay, put in a little bit more money into it, and your return's probably gonna be bigger, because that way more people can see it. And granted, like, the pandemic was a bit of a factor, but at the same time, like, this shit, like, it came out at the same time that like Captain Marvel did the year before, and Captain Marvel was huge, and that movie was a piece of shit. I'm sorry, like,
Captain Marvel was so bad.
it's so bad. And, like,
This should have been a huge event. This should have been a game changer.
It
You
really
know,
should.
like this was a girl team up movie. Like, it was a huge gamble. It was extremely brave of them to greenlight this movie in the first place. It was undersupported by people who should have supported it. I'm never getting over Patty and Gal's half fucking hearted support of this film, and I don't care who knows it. I don't understand why our solo female superheroes felt the need to ignore this movie, more or less. Especially when they're out there supporting each other, especially when you have pictures with fucking Brie Larson and Gal together at the same time that Birds of Prey was in theaters. That was really tough to take. And it felt like a circling the wagons around a certain status quo, and that status quo is the exceptional one woman. And the girl team format really threatened that, and really threatened the future of that, and I think in really good ways. But this should have been a game changer. This should have had a critical effect on the genre. If they had done it right, if they had really supported this film, they could have redefined what a female-led comic book movie entailed. And it's a real shame that they kind of seemed like they were passing on that opportunity. It was a real shame. I mean, I don't know if they saw the product and they decided they didn't like it, but they didn't care enough to try and stop it, or what. But I mean, maybe the R rating lost it some steam because they were trying to sell it to tweens. I mean, Harley is definitely a product that they really aim at tweens, that they really aim at younger women, for reasons that just fuck me up. But that aside, it just doesn't make any sense, the way that they went about this. And I think half of that is bad business, but I think that there's probably more going on there than just bad business, than just really bad decisions. Obviously, people decided not to get behind this movie. A lot of people decided not to get behind this movie, and that fucking sucks, because this movie was great. This movie was nothing but great. And anyone who sat down in the theater with me and tried to lie to me about that is fucking dead to me now.
I have some information on budgets if you guys are interested.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, according to IMDb, the budget for Birds of Prey was $84,500,000, and the budget for Shazam, according to Box Office Mojo, was $100 million. So, Birds of Prey was slightly smaller budget. And also, I had this not really an experience, but I was talking to a friend one time, and this guy he likes comics, and he is like a fan of the Harley Quinn show on DC Universe.
Mm-hmm.
And I was talking about Birds of Prey, and he didn't know what it was, and he'd never heard of it. So, like, because I had always thought that Birds of Prey was something, like, even if, like, the general masses didn't know about it, that, like, in the cape shit community and, like, the comic book community, that it was, like, controversial and everybody was talking about it. But, like, for my friend to, like, never have heard of it before, I was like, geez, like, this must have been some abysmal marketing then.
Yeah, when people looking for Harley content can't find it, holy crap.
Yeah.
And this, like that's the thing that pissed me off so much about last year, when, like, there was, like, Warner Brothers pulled entirely out of Comic-Con. Like, they didn't promote Wonder Woman 84, they didn't promote this. Like, this was, like, the time to fucking start promoting that shit. You could have had your big Comic-Con trailer, you could have gotten so many people excited, and there's literally no logistical reason why they should have done that at all. And that's the one thing I always look forward to every year whenever I go to Comic-Con, is being at that DC booth when they drop the trailer and the cast shows up. I always look forward to that. I've been able to do that with... I did that with Justice League. I did that with Shazam, with Aquaman. And I was looking forward to doing it with Wonder Woman and this. And then Warner Brothers decided to make a fucking stupid-ass decision. And they bowed out. And, of course, it was the year that they were supposed to be promoting 2 big female-led films. So that obviously speaks for itself. So, like...
Call that
have, like, a reason why they, like, publicly why they said that they weren't going to go?
I don't know. Like, I can't remember at the time, like, what if there was a reason that they said, but, like, no matter what it was never going to be the actual truth. You know, like, there's always going to be some bullshit, like, oh, we just don't have these certain things to promote, or we have other events planned, or blah, 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 blah. There's always going to be some political answer, or from, like, really, like, business-sidey answer to the stupidity of making that decision, but... Yeah,
but it was always about, like, I think it was just about popularity. I think after Suicide Squad, they thought, oh, you know, maybe Birds of Prey won't make as much, so there's no point in promoting it as much. But I feel like that's the mistake. I feel like with a movie like this, like an all-female cast, like an all-female group of, like, not necessarily heroes, but characters, you would think that would be priority number 1 for them. Like, I guarantee... If this was the MCU, they'd be promoting the shit out of their girl group. They would be promoting that to every single thing that they can put it on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the thing about the MCU. It would become the girl group movie, and you'd never even know what the movie was about because it'd be the girl group movie. But, like, DC just chill about it, like, is a double-edged sword. Like, sure, they can casually drop these films, but, like, we have a social justice community that is not predisposed to consume any social justice that isn't backed by a corporation, and that's just the truth. And unless it's corporately packaged as, like, this is liberating, they literally cannot recognize it. And that's like the frustration. And I mean, like, you know, it's the same thing that sort of happened with Wonder Woman, where they're like, oh, well, it's just Wonder Woman, and it's like, oh my god, Wonder Woman's been on the fucking cover of feminist magazines. Like, what are you talking about? It's just Wonder Woman. Like, you guys have no context for this shit. Like, you just came in and decided that it was all brand new and that, like, Disney fucking invented feminism. Jesus Christ, everyone. Like, it's a mess. It's a huge ass mess. It's a blunder. But, like, if Warner Brothers needs to understand that that's the way it is, and, you know, I don't want them to lean into it, but I also think that them not, you know, putting a headline out there that has a list of the fucking milestones in this movie was a mistake. Like you don't have to make the movie around a social justice agenda in order to put out an article 10 minutes after it comes out being like, hey, we have 3 queer women, there's more women of color than were in the MCU for the first 20 movies put together, and we're sounding the bell we want girl group movies. We want to pass the Bechdel test. We want people to fucking exceed the Bechdel test. We want complex female relationships. Why can't we have those, you know? Like, lead that discussion. Don't be a fucking pussy.
And that's like the crazy thing, like watching this movie, like like this movie is to feminism what Captain Marvel and MCU fans think Captain Marvel is.
Do they?
I don't know. Does anyone like Captain Marvel? Does anyone stand?
Yes, a lot of people.
Oh my god.
I mean, I've seen a few, but like I have not seen masses of them. Like I've seen some of them, like with what's her name, Carol, in their profile pics being like, you know, flaunted their
Can I just change
Marvel stuff, but
I
haven't seen, like, since the movie came out, I feel like any discussion about how feminist it is has just, like, you know, like, it's not even there anymore.
Well, that's what happens, right?
Say,
like,
that's the thing. They don't have shit to say because nothing happened in the fucking movie.
The movie's so forgettable. You watch it and you forget it as you watch it.
literally?
the movie
Yeah.
is
Like, I have no idea what happened in the
Yeah.
first act.
I'm telling you,
As a-
Ambar's live tweet has so much more plotline than Captain Marvel actually did. Like,
True.
that to me is how I
she was
remember the
here.
movie.
The really scary thing is that if you ask the vast majority of MCU fans, they will literally tell you that Captain Marvel is the queerest option out there for women in the genre. That's what they will say. They
Really?
Yeah.
Because she didn't have a male love interest.
She made eye
But
contact.
she didn't get together with him, so that makes it weird.
Oh my god, don't talk to me about that. It's
Fucking
so
black woman
frustrating.
with a prop, and apparently that's very fucking romantic.
Oh my god.
Is it because the dude told her to smile and then she threw
Here we
him
go.
off the motorcycle?
No, that's
God.
my.
No, it's because
It's
fine. It's fine.
gay.
My hands are literally
Gay
sweating.
because she
just
took a
thinking
title from a female character, and apparently that was the most romantic fucking thing that's ever happened because very sexy. Oh my god.
God, that movie is so terrible.
Oh,
Oh my
My
God.
girlfriend wanted to see that, but we ended up watching Shazam instead.
Good
which is
choice.
funny.
choice. Solid choices. What great choices.
But we watched it later. And she was like, she was just like, it could have been worse.
I love that cat.
I love the cat. The cat's nice.
But it was bad.
The cat's the redeeming quality.
Yeah, but it's got a
I don't even
whole
remember what.
like I can't be that mad.
I think when we watched that, my fiance and I remember distinctly because they had changed like the Marvel logo slightly, and we were like, "Oh, that's cool," and we're like, "It can only go downhill from here." We were literally like, "That was probably the coolest part of the movie."
I have a cool fact, so we can get back on topic.
Yeah.
The Ace Chemicals explosion was 300 fireworks in downtown LA.
Those are real fireworks?
Actually,
Those are real?
like CGI.
Yeah, they were real.
Oh my
I don't know
god.
if they were like 300 set off at the same time, but in order to get the colors right and like the dimensions of everything, they did explode like 300 fireworks at one point.
That's how you know they're really committed to the aesthetic. And I really
exactly.
appreciate that because everything is for the color.
Everybody's
Yeah, I
always
love that
about
opening.
color.
Smoke is aesthetic now. Explosions are aesthetic. Everything better be a fucking color. I want rainbow boats blowing up in every single movie for the rest of time. That's it. The new
Oh yeah,
car.
another thing
Also-
I like that this
Who's gonna
movie
talk?
brought back walking away from explosions.
Yes, love it. Yeah, it was great. Yes,
From colorful
Totally agree.
explosion.
Absolutely. I think like that's one of the biggest things, not like colorful explosions, but like one of the biggest things that I love about this movie so much is that like you can tell how much everyone cared about it on multiple levels. like the cast cared about it and like the crew cared about it, and it shows through the movie because it's just so distinct and so its own. And it's such a standout in the DCEU, and a lot of you already said, like, it's definitely in my top 3, like, after Man of Steel and BVS. And I just remember watching the movie, I was smiling from, like, beginning to end. And I totally, like, I 100%, like, lost my shit right at the end when, like, Kesha's Woman started playing, because when the soundtrack had come out, I was so pissed that wasn't on the soundtrack, but then I was just like, oh, this was such a good opportunity for that. But then it was actually in the movie, and it just, like, topped, like, cherry on top of such a great experience.
It's funny, I remember, so I watched the movie with my wife not that long ago. It took her a while to watch it, just because, like, she's not really into superhero stuff in general, and, like, it's a lot of the stuff she only really watches for me. And so she watched it. She wasn't big on the movie, but she did, like, start cracking up when that song played, because... So my wife works in a surgery center, and so she works with doctors and stuff all the time. And one day, one of the doctors that she works with all the time was playing music from her phone, and then the patient wasn't, like, fully asleep, so the patient was, like, awake. And then out of nowhere, that song started playing as they were, like, you know, like, inside the person's body.
Oh, Jesus.
So she started laughing at that, but
wow.
That story did not end, like, anywhere where I thought it was going to end.
No, so, like, well, because she told me this story, like, a long time ago, but, like, I didn't know the song, so I didn't really know the context. And then, so, like, finally, when we're watching the movie and that song plays, she's like, wait a minute, this is the song that played. I'm like, wait, are you serious? She's like, yeah. I'm like, but this fucking song played?
That's amazing. See, that's the exact kind of chaos that this movie is. Like, that it can relate to a story like that.
That's the thing. I love this movie so much, and, like, we're gonna obviously be repeating ourselves and saying this, but, like, it's seriously, it's such a gem in this genre right now. Like, there's no other film like it, and unfortunately, it's just, I don't know if and when there's gonna be a follow up, or, like, Warner Brothers is gonna do another film like this, or in general when another film like this is gonna come out. So I'm gonna celebrate it as much as I can, because I don't know what's the future of, you know, the Birds of Prey franchise or Harley's franchise is going to be, but this seriously is one of the best films in the genre. And I'm not just saying that because I'm biased to DC. I'm not saying this, you know, just because I really like the movie. I'm saying this because I honestly feel it. Like, as a comic book movie, it seriously is one of the best in the genre. As far as, like, not being, not being, it's okay, Al. Like, not shying away from the source material, but also going in directions that make the characters more interesting, and taking them in directions that you didn't necessarily see coming when this movie was first announced, but you're so happy that they made those decisions. Granted, I know there's a lot of Cassandra Cain fans out there that weren't happy with their portrayal, and that's totally fair, that's totally fine, that's something we can get into, but overall, as far as a cinematic experience and watching this comic book film, it's seriously nothing short of fantastic, in my opinion, and I'm going to continue to you know, shout its praises for as long as I can.
The favorite scene in the whole movie is when it becomes a fantastic comic book movie, and that's
the meatbag gun.
It's actually sooner than that. It's right after the Ace Chemicals explosion, and Renee walks out to look at this burning chemical.
Oh, yeah.
Puts both hands on her hips and literally does the, so what do we have here? Like,
like the classic.
I literally, in the theater, I'm obnoxious in the theater during this movie. I'm a terrible theater goer in this movie. I am howling, and I'm yelling, and I'm whooping, but, like, I literally was just like, that's so fucking Gotham. Like, it was like, we've been transported. Like, we're inside the comic now. Yeah. And whatever happens is inside of that frame.
Yeah. I loved the egg sandwich.
Yeah.
Do you know, I actually started eating an egg sandwich right after, as she was describing it being made. I was like, God damn, I need me an egg sandwich now.
Right? Yeah.
That was me before she mentioned the straight Armenian arm hair, and I was like, oops. Not anymore.
Just casually ignore that because.
But can I just say though, like it has been said before, like the aesthetic of Gotham in this is so unique, but also so like quintessential comic book Gotham that, in my opinion, it's my favorite version of Gotham in live action that we've ever seen.
Yeah.
And the thing is, like, granted, I love BVS, but we didn't get to see really see Gotham in that movie. This movie highlights Gotham and Gotham as like the people of Gotham too, in a way that's never been done before. Not even like in Nolan's films. Like Nolan's films, it's basically like it's called Gotham, but like it's basically like Chicago with Batman and Joker in it. Really.
Yeah,
Yes.
I like the different shades of Gotham that we see in this film. Because most times when we see Gotham, it's like this dark, gothic sort of like city with like old European like structures and gargoyles. But I think with Birds of Prey, I liked that we got to see, not all of Gotham looks like that. Not all of Gotham is like gargoyles and stuff. Sometimes it's just like a pretty normal, bright city. And then even at night in certain parts of Gotham, it's like neon signs and every now and then the occasional weird Joker thing that you put on there.
For the first time.
Yeah. And it's got a Chinatown.
Well, also, can I also talk about too, like the way this film uses Joker in a way that's like important to the plot without him actually being a part of the plot.
Yeah. Like you can feel you can feel his energy, but even if you don't see him, like his reputation sort of carries it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And
it's good that he wasn't in it because we don't need that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean it was better. We already had like the Joker movie, but also no sense taking the attention away.
Yeah, well that and also like
reputation is so big that you can afford to like not have him in it. Mm-hmm. Because if you did, it would like demand too much time, I think.
Mm-hmm. And then that way, then he would become the focus.
I don't ever want to see the Joker in another movie ever again.
Also,
know that about me.
We have moved past.
But I actually think that this portrayal is more powerful than any on-screen portrayal can possibly be because he's like whispered about in myth, and because it's like his fucking reputation, and he's somehow like got more power in this movie than in any movie I've ever seen.
Yeah,
it's true. Yeah, for sure.
Like I'm literally including like my favorite Joker performance. I think he has more power here because he's like the myth. I mean, he gets sort of a reputation boost by never appearing on screen. We don't know what he fucking looks like. We don't know what he does, what he says. All we know is what other people have said about him, and that secondhand story is so spooky. It makes him even more effective off screen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And also because, this is a Joker that's been around for like much longer than other live action adaptations. Because every time we have a live action adaptation of Joker, like in the past, it was always when Joker was just starting his, career of, being a criminal. But with Birds of Prey, it's been a couple years that he's been established, and therefore his myth sort of carries on throughout Gotham, so that we can be able to really feel like, this dude is a really big fucking deal, and that's why it holds stronger in this movie than in the past ones.
It really does. And also, can we talk about the power move?
We have to build Gotham.
I don't think real quick. Can we talk about the power move also of having Cassandra Cain literally not know who the fuck Joker is and just calling him a dick?
Yeah.
That was the funniest thing.
Blissfully unaware of all of that stuff.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I fucking loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that I like about like him, like everybody just talking about him and him not like showing up necessarily, is that it helps with the world building. Because when Suicide Squad first came out and it was established that Harley and him were like crime bosses, some people were like, I don't like that. He's supposed to be an anarchist, blah, blah, blah. And they were like really critical of the organized crime aspect of it. But in this movie, it helps with the world building because you know, you find out like whose territory is who, and you know, Roman it has this territory, and you know, you gotta respect Mr. J because of, you know, all this organized crime stuff. So it helps a lot more that aspect of it with kind of establishing like what the rules are and who's who and stuff.
Well, I mean, he was always a crime boss, even like in the comics. It was only really in the Dark Knight series where he was considered like the anarchy. But,
Yeah, but
for the
a lot
most
of
part,
people-
yeah.
Some people really came away and just were like, he's supposed to be an anarchist, and like that they were just so upset about it. I'm just like, he's not supposed to. I'm like, guys, like, okay, like, you know, whatever.
That is the weirdest shit about being a comic book fan right now, is like everything just gets built backwards.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody's just like, well, everybody knows the canon, and then starts quoting the last fucking movie, and you're like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, everyone's suddenly like the biggest defender of whatever the topic is, and they're suddenly like,
Yeah.
you know, they know so much about, quote unquote, know so much about it. And like you're saying, Danielle, like it's just literally like the last movie.
Yeah, like I've seen this movie 6 times, and even though this character has 80 years of freaking history, that's the most pure interpretation. I mean, because it's the first one I looked at. Like, what the fuck, guys? Like, come on.
I don't know if you guys ever
Wikipedia
saw-
says.
I don't know if you guys ever saw this, but it was like a really glorious thing, and like I can like hardly even remember the context. But you know David Mazouz, the kid who played Bruce in Gotham, the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So he was like, I don't know if it was at a con or something, but there was this video on Tumblr where he was like yelling at a fan of like the Killing Joke, and he like I don't even remember what they were talking about, but the guy was trying to preach to him about the canon or something, and David was like yelling at him. And it was so amazing because it was just like, yeah, like what is the canon? Like what do you mean when you say
Like
the
what
canon?
decade?
Because there's all of this stuff, and you like trying to criticize a property by doing something a certain way, and you know, like who like, is there a truth to this, or is it all just like different interpretations? So it was cool, but I think maybe the video was like lost on the internet or something.
They like don't get the basic level of like what adaptation is, how comics work. Like many things that you would think would be foundational knowledge for talking about comic book movies are like completely lost on half of these people, because you just literally have people who are coming out and being like, well, you know, like this is the way things are, and it's just like, yeah, in one fucking comic, dude. Like the other day there was some dude who got on the internet and he was like, God, what did he say? He said, I was so mad, I blanked out. He said, you know, the best comics are the ones that drew me in when I was first reading comics, and I don't even remember Lois Lane being in them.
Oh, that was so stupid.
I was like,
yeah.
bitch,
What?
what fucking Superman comic did you pick up first that you think that Lois Lane could actually be removed from 80% of Superman comics? Like,
I bet
bitch,
it was Kingdom Come.
all of them. That shit is filthy with her. If you don't like her, you don't like Superman, and you need to fucking get over that.
true,
Like,
preach.
move along.
Al, you said Kingdom Come, and I just like physically flinched. Like I felt like my hands are sweating again. Like, I was just like, oh, Kingdom Come.
But it's so wild because Kingdom Come is also like about her.
Yep. Yeah.
Like she's absent, but the comic is about her. The comic is about how essential she is to his plot. And so you're either telling me that you picked up a Superman comic and blanked out on half the characters. You either blanked out on half the characters, didn't fucking understand Kingdom Come, or read some sort of like Elsewhere Superman book and then put an S at the end of this fucking shit to make it plural, because you literally haven't read more than one comic that has that little Lois Lane in it. You just haven't. Like, it's fiction. You're making it up.
Speaking of, like, I don't know how, like, I just had this thought, and I feel like it could lead us down a whole other route, but, like, what you were just talking about, how, like, people, like, misinterpret things, or, like, they're not looking at the stuff the right way. Like, the way there are some male fanboys who claim to really love these female characters like Harley Quinn and stuff, and they're like their waifus, if you want to think of it that way. But some of these same guys, like, I've seen men who claim to have like badass waifus, like their waifus are like female characters who are like strong and confident and outspoken and stuff, but these same guys like hate feminism and they think it's toxic, and they hate it when women like call out toxic masculinity and stuff. And I'm just like, how do you have this girl power waifu and at the same time like hate it when women like call out the patriarchy? You know, like, I don't know.
I kind of am familiar with with that sort of thing, because I've seen it before in like a lot of circles. But I think for most dudes, and I'm just speaking from my experience, you know, it's only a waifu to them based on, you know, their own perceived understanding of the character. Like, some people, they have this perceived notion of, you know, their female character that they love, and to them it's their purest ideology of what that female character means to them, so that when that female character, you know, says something that goes against their, you know, their fantasy, like, you know, speaking out for feminism, it's like a betrayal of what they know, and it's a betrayal of who that female character is. And sadly, it's like they're stuck in this little bubble of what they think their female character means to them. And then other times it's just for the sake of how they look and not really their personality.
Well, and they're also like, I think there's probably like a third level to that, which is that like they're totally fine with critiques of some things about misogyny, as long as they don't have to feel complicit in sexism. And as soon as they start to feel complicit, which I would argue is what Birds of Prey makes you feel, as soon as they start to feel complicit, then that's threatening. Like, it's the same thing with a lot of different types of oppression. Like, as soon as you feel like you're actually the oppressor, like you figure out that, like, oh, I'm actually contributing to this problem, then the problem becomes fake and it's not real and you don't want to talk about it. And because we're dealing with a section of the population that is just allergic to self-reflection, and you can't have really great probing movies like this without self-reflection. It's true of Birds of Prey as much as it's true of Batman versus Superman, as much as it's true of Man of Steel. It's the mark of really incredible cinema. Really incredible cinema does that. It makes you think about your own shit, and they did not want to think about this particular set of shit. Like, there is sexual menace in this, there is casual misogyny in this, there are a bunch of things that are taking an audience to task, and the coolest thing about Birds of Prey is that it manages to do it without re-burdening that oppressed group with that oppression. Like, I never felt like, oh, yeah, you know, I never felt like, oh, man, yeah, no, this is it. Like, this is what it feels like. Because, like, that's the really cool thing about this script, is it fucking, like, somehow liberates you from that shit. Yeah. And a lot of it is having more than one woman on screen, more than one woman going through shit, more than one woman. I mean, like, we have shitloads of solidarity in this movie. And a huge part of that is the fact that we're allowed to have, like, 5 really awesome female characters standing up on screen and being like, you know, like, we have each other's backs. We're going to figure this out together. Like, the idea that one woman has to tear down the patriarchy alone because only one woman is worthy is fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean, like even with Wonder Woman, it's easy to feel really burdened by all of the shit she goes through because she's going through it completely alone.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Birds of Prey never burdens you like that. Like I said, I was laughing like a fucking hyena through the whole goddamn movie, and half of it was because Roman was opening his mouth. Anytime Roman was speaking, I was screaming in the theater. Like I took one of my friends to this, and she was disturbed by my behavior. She did not understand what the fuck was happening. Like she did.
Yeah.
The movie did not land for her the way that it landed for me. Yeah. I spent a lot of time after the movie just trying to figure out what the fuck was wrong with her.
Yeah, but do you want to, like, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think, I'm sorry.
Go for it, Al.
But I think I loved this movie, but I think there was one particular moment in the film that kind of like disturbed me.
I know which one it is.
I think
everyone knows what it is.
Yeah, it was the dance.
Yep.
Yeah. That dance, like when I first saw it building up to it, like the way he just was like, get on the table and dance. And then she just danced. And then he first asked her to take off the dress, and then he literally picks up a knife and tells the guy next to her, do it for him. And like you can see it on his face, like he doesn't want to, but because of the influence that Roman has, no one can really do anything about that. They just sit and watch because they know if they do anything, they could literally get killed for it. And I was just thinking that is like such a traumatizing thing to have to go through. And at that moment, it made me realize, oh shit, this shit happens for real. Like, this shit is real things that happen in real life. And it pisses me off to no end that it happens. Like, as I was watching it, I was just I felt like I was going to be sick. And the only other time I felt like this in a comic book movie was with the Joker. So it was just really sad to me. And I think I had to I think I was literally about to do what Dinah was going to do, like just walk out for a little bit just to take some time away. Because when you realize how frightening that is, it really hits you hard.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think adding on to that, Al, I totally agree with everything that you said. It was definitely probably the most uncomfortable I felt during the movie, but also, on a weird flip side to it, right at the end of that scene where you see, Helena watching it, and you just know that she's gonna do something about it. It didn't completely snap me out of that moment and of that moment of reflection, but it's like what you were saying, Danielle, that these women are not alone. They're not by themselves. There's that hint of, there's obviously, it's a female team up movie, that's what it's going to be, but in that just small moment and just allowing that one frame to be there. And the way I get to talk about Mary, the way
here we go.
The way, because she doesn't say a single thing. It's just all face acting, and I just remember being pulled out of that uncomfortable zone because I was like, oh shit, she's gonna fuck shit up. I don't know when she'll fuck shit up, but. And that to me, it's like that. Yeah, it's like that weird. It's a different type of hope, but it's that hope of solidarity between women, and
there's some
women looking out for each other. Yeah, exactly. So again, Al, I totally agree that it did make me feel sick, but then there was that little gleaming moment, and it also pans to Zaz as well, who's just laughing about it. Like,
Yeah,
but,
oh, that was the worst.
yeah, and then like Helena, you just see it in her eyes that she's like, "Fuck this!" Like we'll get it eventually, but like not at this moment.
Explode. Like, this is the thing, is that like I got a lot of pushback against exploding Roman Sionis, like just straight up blowing him to fucking dust.
It was the death he deserved.
I screamed.
I laughed so loud.
It was the best death ever.
That grenade-laden death warrant in that scene.
Yeah.
It could end no other way. He had to be obliterated in a literal sense. And he, like, doesn't fucking exist anymore. He is 2 legs at the bottom of the river. Stumps.
It was amazing.
What you guys are talking about with the solidarity, I think, like, that is a really big thing for me, because a lot of times, like, when people talk about, like representation or, like, anything like that, it's like, here is one, you know? Or, like, there's 2, and sometimes the 2 don't even like each other.
Most times.
Yeah, and it's not even just, like, a woman thing, it's also, like, it's a black thing, it's a queer thing, like, you know, like, when you have more than one of a group, and, like, you just allow it to be that way, then it's very, like, affirming, and it is also really great to tell a story about solidarity, because, you know, so often, like, if you have just one, then it's like a poo-poo, like, OMG, like, I am sad kind of thing. But when you have, like, multiple, then it's like uplifting, you know, because it gives you hope, and, like, you can trust people and stuff like that.
And we have
like,
moments like that, I don't think that the scene in the hallway between Renee and Dinah gets talked about enough.
Ooh, good scene.
Like, okay, first of all, Journey fucking kicked it in the ass.
Oh, yeah.
I was
Journey was
that shit.
I had no, like...
She looks beautiful,
yeah.
and it's a great line, and I'm really into it, and it's fun, and it's working so far, and she's been pretty funny. And then that scene happened, and I was like, Miss Journey, I am so sorry. What the fuck did I think I was on? Who am I? Please forgive me. Because that was... She killed it. She destroyed it.
Yeah.
Like, Renee, literally in that scene, she extends that solidarity in a very, very explicit way. She goes, not on my watch. That would never have happened on my watch. That is not something I'm going to let happen again. You know, like, that's what that solidarity sounds like, you know? And it sounds she's moment, and it sounds like less than she deserves, because I really wanted her. I mean, it felt like she deserved more. You know, she was so angry and so hurt. It felt like there was nothing that she could give her that could really make up for what the fuck happened. But, like, that gesture, you know, in retrospect, is really, really powerful, because it's just like, hey, like, you know, like, we acknowledge that what happened was terrible. It did not happen on my watch, and it would never happen on my watch. It's not something that I think was okay. It's not something that I would ever let happen again. You know, like, just like that small gesture of sort of, like, having her back, even if it's retroactively.
I kind of had...
No, go ahead.
Sorry. Like, that scene was really powerful, but, like, given that Montoya was a cop, and at that point in the movie, like she was still in the department, when she said that it wouldn't happen on my watch, like, I had this very cynical reaction to it, because, you know, like, I don't like cops. And,
so I wasn't the only one.
Yeah,
Okay.
so when, you know, I didn't like her. Like, I was, you know, going to this movie like, you know, we got a pig in the cast, but, you know, whatever. And like, when she said it wouldn't happen on my watch, I'm like, well, you know.
Yeah, it's not up to her.
Here? Are you guys gonna, like...
That's a
Oh, no, I'm cool.
not her watch.
Great.
Oh, you know,
So-
I'm cool with it, so.
Okay, so, you know, I was like, well, you know, sis, you're a pig, so, like, what are you gonna do? Like, you know, because, like, even if you mean well, you're still in the police department. Like, what's, you know, like, you can say it wouldn't happen, but like, what, are you going to be there? Are you always going to be like looking after her? Like, how are you going to ensure that kind of thing? You know, like all these empty promises and everything. And, you know, I didn't trust Montoya. Like, I didn't believe in her until she left the department, you know? Like, until she was, like, shut out and, like, it was obvious that she was done with all of that stuff, when I was like, okay, I trust you now, you know? Like, she had to earn my trust as a character.
Yeah, for me, for that scene, like, I understood where she was coming from in that, you know, that would have never happened on my watch. But it's like, there are levels to, you know, corruption. It's not just because you're there that it would have stopped right then and there. You know, there are levels to how corruption works within the police system. You know, there could be like one quote unquote good cop, but one good cop isn't going to change the entire messed up system that has been established for like decades. So when she said, you know, that would have never happened on my watch, for me, that's literally what it meant, on her watch. But what if the next time it's not on her watch? You know, then what would happen then? And it's like, yeah. And so for, you know, like Danielle was saying, well, no, not like what Danielle was saying. I don't know where I was going with this. I'm just ranting on. But, you know, it wouldn't have mattered because it would have happened to some other poor, defenseless child who would have lost their parents to police corruption or criminal corruption or things like that.
Yeah. Especially because she was alone in that department. Like, it was very obvious that she was the only one who was, you know, on the good side, if you were. Like, all of the others were very much, you know, it was clearly like a boys' club, and they were all, you know, they were making fun of her all the time. And I was like, you know, like, for you, like, that's important for you to protect people like Black Canary and her mom, but everyone else in your department is not going to be with that. So, like, you can't do it by yourself, you know, which is another reason why, like, this whole solidarity thing was so important. Because in the police department, she didn't have any solidarity. She had to leave it in order to find a team that was going to really commit with her to cleaning up the city and doing good.
Yeah.
I think that's like, oh my god, what am I trying to say? I think, like, the way that this film, like, that particular storyline, or all of their storylines really, and the way that they all come together, like, it's such a big collision of kind of ideals, and again, like, the way the solidarity is presented between the five of them is not, you know, like the pat on the back, like, oh, I'm here for you type thing in that way, like, in the very obvious way. So, and like, to add on to, like, Montoya's character, like, it's true, like, for me as well, just, like, I just wasn't very interested in Montoya's character, within her storyline until, she was kind of, like, breaking away from, like, the Gotham Police Department. And it was just, like, I don't even know how to say this. Like, I'm trying to, like, figure out the words to say it. But, like, for me, and in watching the movie multiple times, and what keeps making it better for me is that just seeing all of these storylines collide together in the messy but, like, good way that it does is what makes it so satisfying in the end, because it is that idea that every single character is trying to achieve some sort of emancipation, and, like, the way they achieve it and help each other to achieve it is just, it's messy. Like, that's the only word that I can think of, but it's like a beautiful mess. And that's how I, like, have viewed this movie since the first time I've seen it to, like, whatever 10 times I've seen it now.
That's the thing that draws me to Renee, though, is that, like, she's just constantly trying so hard. And, like, I mean, like, they don't even allow her to win most of her fights, like her physical fights. And I think that that's on purpose. I think it's because Renee is falling down a lot personally in her life right now, and she is fucking up, and she is not doing what she's supposed to be doing, and it's taking her a while to figure out what the fuck she is supposed to be doing, and that can be like a long journey, and you know, this is sort of the culmination of that journey. And I think, yeah, I mean, like in the hallway, she is fucking fumbling. She's fumbling through the whole. She's
It's
fumbling
true, yeah.
through the whole with her ex-partner. She's fumbling through everything. Like she's basically shaking for the whole freaking movie because she's just so frantic the whole time. She's just trying shit. She's just throwing shit at the wall and trying to see what sticks. And it's just super relatable to be like in your middle age and just be like, I don't fucking know anything. I don't know a goddamn thing. Like, welcome to refiguring everything out from scratch, you know?
Yeah.
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 That's like
I think. Okay.
that's okay. Like for me watching the movie, like the first time around, like it did take some getting used to as far as like the style, the way that the movie was made, and like following these characters in Harley's narrative, where like she's not telling the story in a linear way. So like meeting Renee at that point, and then going back and forth between, you know, like where she starts and then where the story kind of picks up with her. Like I do think, like, and I've seen some people criticize, you know, the actress because, like, oh, she just plays that role all the time. But, like, even if that is the case, it's a role that she plays really well. You know, like, there's something about the way that she plays Renee that seems, like, very authentic, very real, and, like, it's... I know the whole like, joke in the movie is, like, oh, she sounds like a cop in a bad 80s movie. Like... Like, but
Well,
also,
she is
like,
a cop.
It works. Like, you know, like, it's... Like, yes, like, there's a level of cheese in this movie, but at the same time, it's, like, it makes the movie, at least to me, like, one, more fun to watch, and two, make me root for these characters more, just seeing them, like, have all these flaws and these character traits that, like, one, are realistic, and two, just make them just genuinely more interesting. Like, seeing them, for the most part, fail throughout the entire movie, and even in the end, they kind of, like, barely get away. Like, it takes them just literally just like you know, hitting and kicking people enough to get them out of their way, so that way they can try to save the kid, you know. And by the end of it, like, it just happens to be because Cassandra Cain had a fucking grenade on her that they're able to get out of that situation, you know. So, like, granted, it was a bit of teamwork, but, you know, it's like I just love the journey of getting there and just seeing each character have their own arc, and just seeing. I think my personal favorite arc was probably Dinah's. But overall, there wasn't a single bad one in the entire movie. Like, just from watching all of the characters, like, in this universe, like, it's like seeing Harley, a character we're already familiar with, and then having, you know, Black Canary and Renee and Huntress and all these characters that, like, you're meeting for the first time, but also, like, okay, like, you have these, like, okay, well, these are characters from the comics, so, like, what traits are they gonna have? What's gonna make them real? What's gonna, you know, where are they gonna take from the comics and stuff? But, like, everything they did to these characters made them so much more realistic than I could have ever expected. Where, like, I knew that at some point I was going to enjoy these characters to whatever degree. But I didn't expect to like them this much, or, like, to the extent that I do, because they feel so real and relatable in ways that I wasn't expecting. And I really appreciate that about
Can I
the
say
movie.
something about that?
No, yeah, go ahead.
Because about the characters, like, Nick, you're totally right. I think that we get little time with them. It's a short movie and a lot of stuff happens in it. So, like, we don't get a lot of time with the characters, but what we do get is super significant, and it really gives us, like, each person and, like, a really good knowledge of them, I think. And, like, that's super commendable because, like, all the stuff that we've said about Renee, that she's, like, all fumbling, and then finally at the end when she leaves the police force is when, you know, you can actually see that she's going somewhere. Like, there's a new trajectory for her, and that's really cool. For Helena, like, she talks so little in the film, but I think that through the toy car thing, the way that they set that up, and then the way that it pays off, tells you so much about Helena. All her little jokes, like, she's so fleshed out for a character who barely speaks, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then Dinah is, like, in all my rewatches, I always because I'm very gay for Mary. I focus on Helena a lot. But
Oh, what a mood.
in all my rewatches, I'm like this last time when I watched it last night, I was like all eyes on Journey the whole time because Dinah is so amazing in this film, and Journey's performance is insane. And like if we do get sequels and like spin-off movies, I want hers first because I think she was amazing, and Dinah was like a perfect character. I think like we got little with all of them, but I think Dinah was so well written. And also a little thing about Gotham, because we talked about how we like that that we got to see a lot more of Gotham. I love when we go to Black Canary and we start seeing her life a bit. I love when she walks up to those apartments and the song that plays and the way the camera follows her, and we get to see like that specific neighborhood in Gotham. I think that I really love that part.
Yeah, I love seeing that
Yes.
neighborhood. That was such a, because it shows how, you know, how real Gotham feels. Like
Exactly.
there are hoods in Gotham that
Yes.
have little kids playing on fire hydrants. There are places in Gotham where, you know, old heads are sitting there talking about shit, just shooting the shit, you know.
Exactly. Like my eyes, I always like this. That comes on the screen, and I'm like super like entranced and love that bit. And yeah, basically, I just love how all the characters are written because they set them up perfectly. My brother told me today that he didn't like how it was called Birds of Prey, but it's like so much Harley. And I was like, I see it as a setup because I think that the birds are set up almost perfectly. And clearly Harley is just our way in. The idea is super evident that they want to do spin-off movies and they want to do sequels. So that's why I really like this movie as well, because of that. Like, it's all set up super nicely.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like, I really want to talk about, well, like, Christina Hudson's script is so smart and funny, like...
Yeah.
I just want to read that script so badly. Like, someone release it, please.
I know. Like,
Birds of
so...
Prey was hilarious to me. Like,
so funny.
well, like, they're, like... Let me just get my mind together. There are rare times where I actually laugh during, like, DC films because I'm so entranced in what's going on. And I feel like Birds of Prey was just, like, unapologetically funny. Like, I think one of my favorite scenes one of my favorite aspects of this movie is how it delivers comedy in such a smart way that doesn't feel like any kind of cookie cutter sort of comedy. Like, my favorite, like, comedic scene was when Harley was being held captive by Roman Sionis, and, you know, Roman's like, do you know why I captured you? And then she's like, there's a lot of reasons why he captured me. Like, I did this, I did that, I did this, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
My favorite was it called him Queef Richards.
Yeah.
I love he got mad at her for saying espresso instead of espresso.
Yeah. Like, that entire list.
All little character building moment.
Yeah.
Like, it's honestly that whole the way they used the whole list of grievances thing was so fucking funny, and especially all the ones for Roman. It was just that was my favorite part, the funniest part of the movie. But like my favorite part of the movie that made me laugh the most was when Roman died and just his scream when he blew up.
Yeah, that was funny to me.
Yeah.
But,
I didn't even. Yeah. I was too busy watching his guts fly everywhere. I was like, wow, those are some nice guts.
Yeah. Well, like Danielle said, like, any time Roman opened his mouth was just...
Yeah.
Like, Ewan did such a good job with that.
Yeah.
Like, the line for me that every single time just makes me, like, full belly laugh is when he's just like, she's a child! Like, it's just, like...
She's a child!
It's just so funny. Or, like, anytime he says fuck, basically. But, like, that, in that particular... It's just, it's so funny. And like, just to add on to talking about like Christina, like, what a script. And also just like, it doesn't waste any screen time. And like Camila, what you were saying about how we see so little of some of the character, or like all of the characters really, because it's such a short film, and like even like Helena barely talks or whatever it is. It's just that like every time the camera's on them, it they just use it to the max of to how to develop those characters. There's no, I don't want to say like, you know, like slow. It's not that it's like movies are slow, but it's just because it was such a kind of tight knit film and it was the way that it was cut. It's just like to make sure that every single time, you know, you got to see one of the five, like in whatever context. It was just so purposeful.
Yep.
And it really just really rounded out the characters so well that like I just think about how at the end of the movie I was just like, wow, like oh, the movie's already done, but I feel like I know these characters so well. But when you do rewatch it, you're just like, oh my god, like there's like, I think like if you watch like YouTube videos of like, oh, these are all of like Helena scenes, it's like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Like it's so little that but it's so purposeful and so good that like, and that's a testament to Christina completely. Like her script was just what she did with that script was just so good. Ugh. Well, again, release the script. I want to read it.
I know.
Oh yeah, can I also say like that's the beginning? Like one of the things that really hooked me to Helena was the first fight scene we ever see her in. Like the way she handles those like the goons with just like a single gun. That was like the best fight scene to start off with that I had ever seen. Like I still think about it to this day.
Me too, Alex.
That. Yeah. But I just love gun kata in general. Oh, and speaking of gun kata, I just remembered that isn't the fight choreographer for John Wick was the one who did the fight scenes for this movie? Yes, that's why. Yeah.
Oh, gosh. And I was thinking about John Wick while I was watching it, like when Harley was on top of the car while Roman and his were trying to escape. Like I was like thinking of John Wick, like that's really cool.
Yeah.
And like what you were saying about the script and like how tight it is, I like it could have been confusing, but it wasn't. And like I found it like really delightful, like when I was watching it, like because like we were going back and forth, and like Harley's telling the story, so you know she's like jumping all around at wherever her whim kind of wants to, but it wasn't like confusing because like the script is just written in such a way that like you're just kind of like, I don't know, like you're just soaking it in. Like when she went to the police station, I don't remember what had happened before that exactly, but like something like we didn't know about Cassandra Cain yet, like swallowing the diamond or whatever, but she was just in the police station just shooting it up, and like I didn't really care that I didn't know why she was there. I was like, Harley wanted to shoot up a police station, like I support that, you know. And like it could have been, oh my god, what's happening, my head is gonna explode, but instead it was just like a fun ride that we're just being looped around on, and it explains itself later on, and the movie's not so long that like you lose where you are. Like, you know, when they finally get around to explaining the Cassandra situation, it's like, oh, okay, I know what's happening now, and I'm just kind of like being led through it. And like I understand for some people that can be like a frustrating experience, but for me, the way that Christina did it, like it was just like really well done and like fun and interesting.
It really does feel like if you're with a friend and a friend is kind of telling you a story of whatever happened to them, and if that friend is just very enthusiastic about it, and like you could get lost because they're just kind of recalling all the facts, but it's like they still hit all the correct points, so you just like get it at the end. Like that's what it feels like, right? Because it is from like Harley's point of view. She's just jumping everywhere. But delightful is the perfect word to describe it. Like it's just so, yeah, again, it could have been confusing, but like it just wasn't. And yeah, like certain things you're like, I don't remember how we got here, but like I also don't care because it's so great. And like, oh, I think about, that police, like, oh god, when she goes into the police station and uses that beanbag gun, like honestly, I don't know. I was screeching.
It's very much Harley.
Yeah, it really was.
It was so.
And there was like glitter, like, oh god, it was so good.
And I really
Also-
love that moment with Boomerang, and she was
Yeah.
like, I know that guy. It was like, thank you for acknowledging sisters.
Yeah, like, and it was so small, like so small, but it was just so, it was a perfect little thing, just right there.
I liked that. Oh yeah, and another thing I liked about this movie was the violence. Like, I can talk about the fight scenes, but I also wanted to talk about the violence in the movie. Like, it wasn't violent in the sense that it was all gory or, you know, evisceration or things like that, but it was like the sort of violence that you would expect from, you know, a comic book movie, but not so much violent that it was like horror levels of like blood and gore. And it was kind of like Deadpool's level of violence, but not really Deadpool level of violence. There was like a sort of class to it that kept it separated from being compared to Deadpool. So that's just what I saw.
I agree. Like, it's easy. I don't want to say it's easy, but like when you're doing gore and like she broke like how much? She broke at least 4 legs.
Yeah.
She broke. I love.
Yeah.
Okay, call me a sadist or something. But when she jumped on that dude's legs in the club,
Oh yeah,
I love it.
so
It
good.
was awesome.
I love. Oh
And
yeah,
in the beginning too.
It wasn't
Yeah.
like gross gore. Like, it wasn't like gross violence. Like, it was just appropriate. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it was just like, yes, Harley will do that.
Yeah, and then she broke that dude's leg with a baseball bat. Like, me and my girl was
That
like,
was so badass.
God damn. Like, the
I
way
love it. Yeah.
she broke it, she hit it once, and then hit it from the
Again.
back, and
Yeah.
then hit it again. It's like that dude's leg is done. He won't be able to use that no more.
And
and
it
that-
was, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Oh no, and that felt more gruesome than if, you know, she tried to rip the leg off.
Yeah. And I love with that particular like leg breaking scene is like it takes like just a beat longer because when you're watching it, you're like, the first time I watched it and she like swung the bat, I was like, oh my god, she's gonna swing it again. And you have that moment just before it happens to be like, yeah, she's gonna fucking do it. And then when she does it, it's just so good. But like they just put like a slightest, smallest pause, and it's because it's such a fast sequence as well. There's just like an extra beat there, and it was the perfect way to show that.
Oh
But
wait,
the-
no, she broke both legs. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
He broke. He had his. Okay. He had his leg in. He tried to kick her, and he had one leg in the window, and then she broke that one, and then she jumped down and like went behind him, and then she broke the leg he was still standing on.
Yep.
So like both of them were like out of commission.
And then she hit it a second time too.
Yeah.
Like, god damn.
Yeah, the support leg, she hit it back.
Yep.
Yeah.
There was just a lot of leg hitting.
Yeah, it was like right at the knees.
And like I can get grossed out by things pretty easily. Like even like Deadpool, the way they did some of the stuff, I was like, okay, that was a little bit unnecessary. But like the way that this movie does it, like it's like almost elegant. It's like, I don't know. It's like cathartic because all of those dudes are assholes. And like again, like maybe this is something wrong with me, but I have like fantasies sometimes about getting their due, if you will. And like Harley, and you know when Dinah was like beating those guys up, we're trying to take Harley away in the van. Like it was just really great to see them like get thrashed, you know.
Oh yeah.
When she kicks the door
With
and it
the window
shatters.
shattering.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, with Dinah. Yeah, that is like
That did
that was
something
my
to me.
favorite scene.
It's a good
I love the
fight
way she fights.
Yeah.
Yes. It's so
Oh,
cool.
yeah. I forgot what martial arts she uses. I'm a nerd for this kind of shit. I forgot what martial arts she uses, but it's like a heavy reliance on legs
Yeah.
and like
It's
I think
kicking.
a little like I know Harley's is mostly grappling. I forgot
Yeah.
what kind of grappling.
Yeah, no, it was just.
I don't know fighting.
Yeah, I don't know anything about her, but yeah. Look, we all love how
I
high.
think Helena's jujitsu. That's all I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, Helena has jujitsu.
Yeah.
And like a little bit of gun kata.
But yeah, no,
And a crossbow.
and the
Yeah.
Not a bow and arrow, a
a
crossbow.
crossbow, yeah.
Oh yeah, what's up with that bow and arrow shit? It's not a fucking bow and arrow, it's a crossbow. I'm not 12.
Listen,
Her in the theater, everything she said, everyone laughed, and I love that about going to the movies and watching that in the movies. We said that this movie was really funny, but really, like in the theater, everyone laughed at every joke, and I love that.
it was
Yeah.
good. Like,
Everything.
yeah.
I didn't expect Helena to be funny.
Oh, me neither. It was just so fantastic. The scene in front of the mirror. Oh my god,
You know who I am.
I died. Like I was.
Especially because her apartment was so like normal. Like she's such a badass and like she's so hot and everything. But like her apartment was just like a regular apartment, and she's just standing in front of the mirror, like you know who I am, like practicing her.
Yeah, we've all been there.
She's a dork, and I love that.
Yeah, basically she was a dork.
I loved it.
Oh,
Yeah.
definitely.
And I love that, like, Harley's voiceover is just like, oh, the killing she has down, but, like, everything else. And then, like, because, like, there's Harley's voiceover, and there's, the score is going too, and then the score just goes silent, and it's just like, do you know who I am? And then it kicks back in again, like, so funny. There's, like, it's not even just in the lines, like, the way the movie is presented, there's so much humor in the way the movie itself is presented. And like whether it comes with the score or the framing or the fact that the way they use text, like over the film, like including like the grievances and everything like that, like, and how like when Helena's like first introduced, it's just question marks, and then the camera zooms out, and then the question marks are just really small in the background. I was like you didn't have to do that, and you didn't have to continue that, but it just adds another layer of humor that again makes this movie so like singularly what it is, and it just had such a good vision of what it wanted to be, and everyone working on it was just like working towards that vision.
I want to see the script and like the storyboards. If there are storyboards, I want to see that. And it's like super well edited. Basically, it's just like really good editing.
It's a really good movie. Just
the score drops in and out and all that. It's really good.
I like Helena's theme.
Sorry.
And I was just saying, I like Helena's theme.
Mm-hmm.
Like every time she appeared, you could hear that flute in the background.
Yeah. But I really liked whenever like Harley didn't know who was after her, like the Frito Kahlo looking motherfucker or whatever it was, and like the question marks, like who is this bitch? I don't know.
Yeah, like what did I even do to you?
Yeah, and like the guy like with the guy who threw the bomb into her apartment, and like it was just like an emoji, like a shrug emoji, like she doesn't even know, like, because she's just been an asshole to everybody, and like to the point where it's just like, who are these people? I don't know.
I know, and I love that they later like reference it too, because you know like Dinah's kind of calling her out on wanting to trade Cass, and then she's just like, I had all of Gotham after me, like I just like I didn't know what else to do because like just all these people are coming after me. And it was such a good runaround too, like getting introduced to those like singular like random side characters, and again that just like populates Gotham in this way that we've never seen Gotham kind of, you know, like they're still technically kind of like thugs and whatnot, but it's not in that like kind of down menacing way of like, oh, there's like, you know, the henchmen and whatnot. It's just like these little side characters that add to the vision of Gotham that they put in Birds of Prey, which, like, yeah, it's the best version of Gotham that's been.
Yep, especially like they give Gotham and the people in it a real personality that's really lacking in almost every other version too.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, like most movies focus only on the characters and Batman, but there's rarely a time where we, you know, focus on Gotham as a city and the people in Gotham.
Yeah. And that's one thing, like bringing up your point, Dash. Like, look at like all like the little like thugs and stuff like are in Harley's way or like after Harley or whatever. Like, even then, like they're all like really funny for the most part. Like, my favorite one's probably the one that like her and Joker tied the happy face on.
Yeah.
And yet the one like body double version of Jared Leto's Joker.
Literally
like,
happy.
Yeah. Like, even the stuff like that, like, the amount of care that goes even to, like, into the characters like that, I think give the movie so much more personality that not even just, like, other Batman movies don't have, but just, like, other comic book movies in general don't give to their side characters like that, or, like, one-off characters. Like, it really does give the city a sense of personality, like, okay, like, these are the people that live in Gotham, like, these are the type of criminals there are, like, these are the type of everyday people that there are, like, you know, like, there's not a scene in the movie... See, it's okay. There's not a single scene in the movie that doesn't feel deliberate in the way that it's set up with the like the extras or like the side characters or just like the set design. It always feels very deliberate, and in that way, it does kind of remind me of like a Zack Snyder movie, and just how everything is there intentionally. And I feel very much so the same way with how Kathy directs Birds of Prey in Gotham.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Really, I got like Scott Pilgrim vibes from this movie.
I've never seen Scott Pilgrim, so
yeah. Like, I got some real Scott Pilgrim vibes from this film with the way that they use the like the little text on the screen, and also just the way of how it's kind of made with the jump cuts and just the aesthetic of it. It just kind of reminded me of Scott Pilgrim. Yeah. Like how Scott Pilgrim is like a video game movie. Birds of Prey really feels like a true comic book movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never seen Scott Pilgrim, so I have no.
Oh,
you've never seen Scott Pilgrim?
Nope.
Oh, God.
Oh my God.
Scott Pilgrim is based off like a graphic novel series, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it feels like a video game, which is interesting. Like
Yeah.
it's a comic, but it's based on a comic, but it feels like a video game and a comic at the same time, which is cool.
Yeah. That's how it is in the graphic novel too. It's like video game references. But Nick, you've never seen Scott Pilgrim?
No, it's just like
Check it out. It's very fun.
like I've been aware of the movie ever since I saw it promoted at Comic-Con, like around the time it was supposed to come out. But honestly, like it's never.
The voice of Katara is literally one of the exes.
Yeah.
Oh, Mae Whitman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I know, and then like Brandon Routh and I know Chris Evans in it. Like I know, like it has a great cast, and like I'm sure it's good. It's just it's never been that appealing to me. It's like I'm sure I'll get around to watching it eventually, but there's just like something that like I've never been like driven to go watch it. Like I'm sure I'll do it eventually, but like yeah, it's never.
That's all right.
Just like I had to watch Avatar, you're gonna have to watch Scott Pilgrim.
Avatar and Scott Pilgrim are two different things. First of all.
Scott Pilgrim is so unapologetically filmed in Toronto as well. Like, so my personal enjoyment of it taking place in Toronto is fantastic.
Were you talking about that with someone on Twitter earlier?
Yeah. It like
long ago in the land of Toronto.
Yeah, it's literally like long ago in the far off land of Toronto, Canada. Like that's how the movie begins. It's just. I know Danielle doesn't like Scott Pilgrim, but...
Oh, she doesn't? Wait, where's Danielle been? I haven't heard her in a bit.
I'm letting you guys have whatever it is to have right now.
No, Danielle, if I'm gonna watch Scott Pilgrim at some point, I need to hear both sides.
No,
Is it gonna be like the Scott Pilgrim War of 2020? Like,
Oh boy.
If you guys made me put up with your Twilight conversation last time, I'm gonna listen to this.
Nobody's beautiful face in this movie, and I will admit there are many beautiful faces, can save it from the stupid ass plot, the stupid ass characters, dumb ass antics that everybody fucking gets up to, and the fact that it's about some stupid asshole who is less than nothing fighting a succession of exes for some girl. Fucking stupid as shit.
I mean, but that's the thing. That's the thing. Scott is a loser.
Nothing happens.
But no, that's the point.
Nothing happens.
Scott is a loser, though. We all agree. Scott is an absolute loser.
He's not just a loser.
Guys, are we going to spoil the movie for Nick?
I don't care.
Oh, wait,
I
no.
honestly, I don't care if you spoil me.
I spoil the movie.
Is it?
I truly don't care about spoilers.
Nothing fucking happens in this film.
No, nothing does happen.
No, that's the point, though.
How is that? How can that be the point? How can that
No,
be the point? Besides,
it's like
haha,
he's
you
fighting.
wasted your time.
Well, no, it's like he's
I pulled
fighting.
you in with the promise of Brandon Ruth, and now I have wasted
You don't watch this
hours
movie
of your life.
to look at people unless it's you. But like it's for its editing. It's for the audio delight. For the
Yes.
for the youthful wackery. I don't know.
It's like
Team Scott Pilgrim movie. I
A film without a plot, without story, is a croissant without butter. It
does have a plot.
Fucking matter. It's not real. It
But-
doesn't exist.
No, it does have a plot. It's about a dude who's fighting, seven evil exes to get the girl that he loves.
And get her from one.
But wait, but does she love him though?
And he's like, I'm down for this.
Yes,
It makes no sense.
in a way.
I'm down for it.
Like, she does love him in a way.
Wait. So does she not even love him in the end?
She loves him so
Well, no,
much.
she does love
She loves
him.
him so much that she wants to watch Chris Evans kill him.
That's
That's how much she loves him.
The most important part of this movie is the fact that everyone is fighting for Mew. This is the only thing
Yes, that is
makes
what's
sense.
integral.
Agreed.
Like,
that is the point.
That is the
That we can all relate to that.
Listen, this movie came for my bisexuality, and I just...
She's not. She's not even interested in these people anymore. Like,
Yeah,
nobody's
but they're-
fighting for anything. They're
But
just
they're
like,
interested in her, and that is relatable.
contract.
Well, no,
How
technically
did
the
you?
main guy is interested in her.
No, he's not. No, he's
Yes,
not.
in a way.
No,
in a
he's
way.
not.
I'm so confused. So like, do they even get together in the end or no?
Yes, they get together in the end.
I agree with everything Danielle is saying. It's just that I love it. It's just that I love it. That's the thing.
Like,
Is
it's
that-
stupid, but it's also endearing.
It makes us happy.
Yes.
And I would never take that from you. I would never take away that happiness. I am happy that you're happy. That is
I will say though, this conversation has made me way more interested in watching this than you guys have ever made me
please
interested in
watch
watching
it.
fucking Twilight.
Here's what I'm doing for Nick right now. I am setting up accurate expectations.
Yes!
God, the world. I am setting up extremely accurate expectations.
Oh.
He may actually find a way to enjoy this movie now because he knows what he's into.
Nick, do
I
not
thought
go into this.
It's gonna fucking happen. I was pissed.
Like,
Do
go
not
into
go
this movie.
expecting like a
Plot.
freaking Martin Scorsese or something like that, okay?
Like, don't go into this movie expecting it to be like some sort of cinematic masterpiece. Although it is a cinematic masterpiece in the sense of the editing, its fight scenes, its video game references, cinematography, and all of that, and its jump cuts. Its jump cuts are legendary. I cannot stress this enough. Its
It's
jump
very
cuts
funny.
are powerful.
It's a very funny movie.
Chris Evans
Yes,
cracks his
it's
neck
hilarious.
to the Universal theme song. Like, it's just... That's the kind
Wait.
of dumb shit
Wait.
that's
He cracks his neck to what?
the Universal Studios theme song.
Are you
You
serious?
get it when you see it.
That's how, I can't, that is the accurate description of what actually happens. Like, I'm not exaggerating it, I'm not making it up. That is what happens
That's exactly
in
what
the
happened.
movie. And he does this dumb voice, and it's just so stupid. Like, there's so many stupid things, but, like, the love for that stupidity in this movie is just everything. And Love it. Love it.
All right, well, I just might have to check it out just for that alone, I guess. Like, damn.
Don't worry, I can sell Scott Pilgrim to anyone. Like, it's just...
But here's the real question. I know I keep going back to this. Because Danielle, Al, and Rebecca, last week when we were recording our podcast, very much so were trying so hard to sell me on Twilight.
Okay.
Listen!
Like, the thing about Twilight...
I'm sorry, I was not trying to sell anything.
Like, it's not like we're selling you, we're just telling you what it's about.
Sell Twilight.
We're talking amongst ourselves, and you decided that we were trying to make you watch it, but no such thing occurred ever.
We were just discussing it like like-minded individuals,
Exactly.
and you just happened to be like, "Oh my God, are you guys trying to make me watch it?" Like, no,
Yes.
we're not trying to make you watch it.
I mean, my understanding is that it doesn't matter because you're going to watch
Twilight. I
it.
think
Just
you
wait in. It doesn't matter to me anymore. I don't even have to work for this. Like, I got the wife on my side.
In the end, Nick, it is your choice to watch Twilight, but if you don't, it is the wrong choice.
If you can't stop thinking about watching Twilight, even though no one suggested it to you, I maybe
No one suggested it to me. You guys have been basically telling me to watch this movie for the past 2 fucking years. The fuck you telling me? You're telling me to watch
2
it.
years. I think it's about time.
It's like...
Honestly, though, but here's the thing. I was telling this to my wife the other day, and she's like, "You know what? I wouldn't mind rewatching those movies again. I think we should watch them." I'm like, "Babe, no. That was my whole point. Is that when they do the podcast for Twilight, I won't be there." She's like, "Babe, I think just get over yourself and just watch it."
no,
Seriously, watch the movie.
and not talk to us about it if you don't want to. You don't have to sit there and listen and participate. Like, you can just, like, do your own thing.
You may, in fact, be too traumatized.
You know, the Twilight love-hate goes real deep. Like,
It is a strange hole to put yourself
Oh, it's
into.
very upsetting. It's not awesome to experience it the first time, especially the last 2 movies. They are rough. But
I did not watch Breaking Dawn Part 2. I was done. Like, I was
they
already...
put metaphorical hair on your metaphorical chest.
I couldn't do it after. Like, I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, you know, I'm done.
I remember when Breaking Dawn came out, we had to put, because I was working at the movie theater still at that time, we had to put, like, the whole, like, flash, like, we had to put signs on the doors because we had to put warnings for the birthing scene.
Oh,
geez,
Lord.
the birthing scene.
Amazing.
But because it was, not because it was graphic, but because it, like, there's a lot of, like, flashing light during it. So, like, people were actually having, like, people with light sensitivity were, like, getting nauseous. And it wasn't because of, like, what was happening,
So
actually.
funny.
So,
Because
like,
they don't want you to look at what's happening.
exactly. What an iconic scene.
Amazing.
Like, remember how it was handled in the movie. I only remember. Like, I kind of remember, like, one image, I think, from the movie. But mostly I remember, like, from the book. And it was like, very graphic in the book still. But, like, not in a way that, like, I was like, okay, like, you know, like, we were expecting it to be difficult, to put it elegantly.
Really?
You know?
Difficult. They literally used a nut like a scalpel. It's just...
I have not been the same since I read that scene. Since I read it.
You
I
read
didn't
it?
see it before I read it, but I read it first,
Yeah.
and I have not right since that happened.
Honestly,
That scene fucked me up. I was like, he did what? He's what? He's doing what?
I wasn't really upset by that scene, except when Jacob was, like, commenting how... Well, do you remember what he said?
Yeah.
About...
In the book?
You guys remember? Yeah, in the book.
No, I don't remember.
No, I don't remember the book.
Okay.
No.
Since I was expecting it to be horrible, and, like, when it was getting worse and worse, I was like, okay, we knew it was gonna be bad. Like, you know, like let's get through this. Let's get this thing out and like not kill Bella in the process. But like the only thing that like disturbed me like really about that scene was like Jacob, like his inner monologue.
All right. Oh yeah.
God.
He always wanted to like see Bella's breasts, but like this wasn't how he wanted it to happen.
Wait, no, don't make it weird. Don't make it weird for Nick. He still has to watch it.
Wait. Ow! This is where you think it gets weird?
I just remember, like, when they were making Breaking Dawn and just how everyone was talking about, like, so how are they gonna show this?
Yes. I thought for sure they would cut away. I thought, I can't
And then they
believe
just did.
it just didn't.
Just kept happening.
Can you guys just tell me what happens, please? Because I'm not...
No, you gotta watch it.
No. You can't just describe it. You can't describe it vaguely as some horrible, horrific thing and not tell me what happens.
No, Nick, you have to suffer with it like I suffered.
Okay, but
I'm
like,
sorry.
here's the thing. Here's
Yeah,
the
here's the
thing.
thing. Al, you suffered for it for a girl.
You're
I don't want to suffer for it.
No, okay, maybe suffer's not
You
the
don't
right
have the accurate reaction.
Yeah.
Because part of it is the shock that it's fucking happening.
Yeah, the shock value is what makes
It
every
begins happening and you go, oh my god, that's not what's happening. Oh my god, that can't be what's happening. That can't be what's happening.
Exactly.
And it's happening and you're just like, oh my god, what the fuck?
It just keeps going. It's like a long 5 to 6 minutes of screen time, and like it
Oh
is
my god,
the
it's so long. It's so long.
Jesus.
Oh man, I should watch that
Look,
tonight.
I love it every single time I rewatch it.
Oh,
First,
me too.
Okay, at this point, so like, is there like anything like actually good, or just of the vein of like it's just so ridiculously bad that it's terrible, like it's fun to watch?
I just.
You want to talk about good soundtracks? Like we're talking about Birds of Prey,
shit.
to kind of bring it back slightly. Like you know how you're just like the Birds of Prey soundtrack is like amazing. The Twilight Saga soundtracks are like
Seriously?
so.
They like fuck with you because like you're like you start getting mentally into the place where you're watching a really good romance.
Yeah, but you're
Like watching it and you're like, oh, this is really beautiful, and then you're like, no, it's not. Why do I think that? Why do I think this is beautiful? And it's because of the fucking music, because it's spooky. It's so effective.
yeah, it's like one of the best soundtracks. Like
Their theme is brilliant.
oh my Bella's Lullaby. Oh,
Every time I hear it, I'm like, oh my god, someone's falling in love and my heart is
it's
broken.
so beautiful. It's such a beautiful theme. Why like
They gave so much to that theme, and like they give. This is the thing about the movies. Here's the thing about the movies that is the sticking point for me. There was more love and attention and artistic integrity put into these movies than Stephenie Meyer has ever felt in her entire life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like they decided to exceed her effort by 300,000 degrees.
Like Danielle, is your opinion that the movies are better than the books?
Yes, kind of.
That's
yeah.
a complicated question. It's not really a matter of which one's better.
It's not
more
even
like
like they're the same thing.
yeah,
It's two completely different things.
yeah.
Yeah, they are very, very different. But like, I always like prefer the books because like there was some things that happened with the film. Like if I have to see it, it becomes like
Emily, what are you doing?
like you know, like I don't know, like with the movies, like the way some things happened, it's like it became like cringy. Like so, like I prefer the books because like things like it's different, and also like I don't have to like see it because like in the book they say when they describe the way the vampires move, it's like okay, but like when you see it happen, it's like ooh, that looks strange, you know.
They're so committed. You know, that they actually just took like a literal explanation of what vampires are like, and they didn't change a goddamn thing. They actually it was a really, really close adaptation of the source material, and then somehow ends up being so different from the source material in tone and in content and every single part of it. I'm just like, this has nothing to do with the Twilight books, but it's something fascinating that like it couldn't exist without them.
It's weird. It is very
not. It's not part of the books. It's like a totally different thing. Because I enjoy the movies unreservedly. Yeah. I enjoy them like crazy. But like I would never reread the books.
Reread the books? Yeah, exactly. No, absolutely.
It was traumatic for me. I spent a lot of time while I was reading the books just being like in pain. Like I did not enjoy that.
I'm like the opposite. Like I'm like the opposite of you. Like I can't watch the movies, but I can think about the books. I won't reread them, but I can think about them.
I just think of like even like how in like New Moon the way they did the like the months passing, because in the books it's literally just blank pages.
Oh my god, it was so fucking cheap. I was so mad.
I know, me too, right? And then but like the way they did it in the movie, I was like, oh, like I was just like,
it was like. It was like wistful. It wasn't like she stopped existing, because that's what the book implies. Yeah. The book implies that like there's no Bella when Edward is gone. That's
literally. Like, and it's
this is just like 6 seasons of longing. You know, like it's just like her like staring out a window, and you're like, oh yeah, I've fugued through my life before. Like I can get that feeling.
And again, like the music playing in the background too.
No, the music did a lot for the actors, because some of them were up to the task and some of them were less up to the task.
Shout out to Anna Kendrick playing Jessica Stanley.
The hero. She's a hero that we'll never get to.
I'm sorry to everybody who's watching this. Like,
this is terrible. We've done a terrible thing.
The Twilight
to the
podcast was to be its own thing, and now it's just like sucked up into
I don't even remember. Oh, I was just gonna be like, I don't even remember how we got here. Nick is the one who brought it up.
Bro, it's crazy.
No, it's Al's fault, because he's the one who mentioned Scott Pilgrim, and that's how we ended up where we are.
No. I was talking about Scott Pilgrim. No, I was just talking about Scott Pilgrim. You brought up Twilight.
As long as it's not me. As long as it's not
who she is, and how, you know, it's great that all these people are fighting over her, and then you said, hey, let's talk about Twilight because I secretly want to watch it.
No.
I heard that. I distinctly remember those were Nick's exact words.
He was literally just like, so like, you need to tell me, like, is Twilight good? Out of nowhere.
No. Well, on that note, I have some opening spots here on the Bitter Geeks Podcast, so I'll begin taking some application.
Goodbye, guys. It's been nice. I had 2 episodes.
It was a good run.
It was a good run.
I think in order to get on track, we need to thirst over something. So, who is? Let's ask Al. Al, who is your main Birds of Prey crush?
Oh no. Shit.
It's okay to say Ewan.
It is a tough choice between Renee Montoya, Dinah, and Zaz.
Zaz.
Oh. That's not a left field.
Okay, but let me just say.
No, you don't have to explain that. That makes sense.
Okay, but look, with Zaz, yes, the guy's like creepy as all hell, but it's the charm in which he is creepy that allures me to him.
Yes.
Like, when me and my girlfriend were watching it, we were like, okay, Zaz is doing something.
His outfits too, man.
Like, his outfits were the best.
The way you just described him is how I feel about the Gotham Zaz. Like, Gotham. Like, that's how I feel about that. This one took it too far for me, especially when the way he encouraged Roman to go, like, you know,
like, there is no way you can look at him and Roman and think, oh yeah, he's George's friend. No.
Yeah, but like the way he like eggs Roman on to like do horrible things,
so
it's just like nope.
It just like Zaz has always been the Gotham villain that scares me the most, weirdly. So like this was just like right for me. Like I was watching it and I was like, it's real sad that it's Chris Messina because he's so fucking hot. But like it's over. As soon as he starts being Zaz, I'm like, well, that boner died. Like I'm finished.
It's also like Chris Messina's like deep voice. Ooh.
Yeah, he's super hot. Like, did you see him in Sharp Objects? Finger banging Amy Adams? Because apparently that.
What? Wait, what did you say? What was he in?
Sharp Objects.
He was in Sharp Objects. Yes.
Wait, I only heard finger banging.
Hold on.
He was just finger banging Amy Adams. And everyone stands to attention.
Danielle, I do want you to know that my 18-month-old daughter is sitting like 2 feet away from me.
Oh my god, are we on speaker?
Yes!
Oh my
Why
god.
do you not have headphones on?
Because it wouldn't record the audio otherwise.
Adams loved each other very much. And they kept their pants on the whole time.
They were engaging in passionate hugging.
What episode was it though? Like, what was the sequence of events that led to that?
What do you mean? Him and Amy Adams loved each other very much?
I watched Sharp Objects, and the only person I remember her having an encounter with was like the barely legal guy.
Oh, at the end.
No, she hooks up with Chris Messina's detective character a couple times.
He was a detective!
Yeah, he's super hot in that.
He's forgot, like, the detective. Like, I just, like, now that you're saying the detective for who you're talking about, but I swear to God, I don't remember his face. Like, I'm just like...
Oh, no, you can't remember. You can't connect him and Zaz because they're two so... Okay, you wouldn't even know it was Chris Messina, except that I was like, hey, you know, I just saw him love Amy Adams very much.
Alright, thanks for jogging my memory there, because I completely forgot.
Yeah!
Who's next?
No, he's just hot.
And then he was Zaz.
Yeah.
And it was hard. It was hard for me.
He was in that yellow turtleneck, and yeah, it's okay.
Oh yeah, he was in the yellow turtleneck as he massacred an entire family.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know how you do.
Fashionable murder.
And then there was that time where he like showed his scars.
Yeah. Oh God. Yep.
I have a fact about the Bertinelli execution in the house.
Oh really?
It was all done in one take.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah,
Wow.
I'm not surprised.
Wow.
Kathy was really, those oneers, like...
Yes. It was all one take, and it was his house, so they couldn't break anything. And yeah, that was cool.
Did you guys see that the murder recreation scene?
Yeah, that was a oneer.
One take.
Oh,
I lost my mind. I could not
Amazing.
wrap my head around that. That is
Oh, that was
wild.
one take?
Yeah, they don't cut back and forth. It's Helena in the room.
yep.
Oh yeah, they do.
And then, like, the lighting crew had to change lighting, like, as the scene is changing.
Holy crap!
Oh my god, yeah.
Oh yeah, that's why I love that scene.
Kathy Yan, if you're still listening to this,
Praise God.
That is...
What is the recreation scene?
Like when, Renee is trying to figure out how Helena, like, killed everyone at the beginning.
In the diner.
What? Martyr. What is it about martyr?
Martyr.
Like, MARTYR? Or did you say something else that sounded like martyr to me?
Oh, I was saying oneer.
The one?
Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
like
one
basically
take.
like
One
a
take.
one take scene.
One long take.
Like you remember in BVS the nightmare sequence where Batman's fighting all those parademons and those military people, and how there's no like cuts to another scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a oneer.
Okay, great. It's like, what? I've never heard the word martyr before. I was like, martyr? What? I've never heard that before. Oh, gosh.
but yeah, Kathy Yan, if you're still listening to this, you're fantastic.
I love how it's like, is she still listening? First of all, if you ever listen to this, we are sorry for the 10 minutes of Twilight that happened in the middle there.
10 minutes, only
She
20
liked
minutes.
Twilight too.
Yeah, I'm sure too.
Yeah, so
Just seriously, can you imagine if she ever listens to this though?
Oh god.
So wait, who's it? Okay, other Birds of Prey crushes.
It's Helena.
yeah.
Yes, it is. Like,
There's
someone said Helena. I woke up. Someone said Helena.
it's me. And who else said it? It's me. My like retweets, every other retweet is like you. Like it's just.
I really. Wait, like we need to go in order. Everyone say their crush, and then I go last, so I can talk 10 minutes about Mary, and then we can be done.
You and Dash just
When
need
I-
your own
When I
podcast on
saw
Mary.
Mary Elizabeth Winstead in Final Destination 3,
That was it. That was the beginning.
that was the beginning.
For me, it was Sky High when I was a kid.
And then when she got cast for Birds of Prey, I was like, listen. Like, she is now in the DCEU. I'm very excited. And then she was what she was in this movie. And I was a very happy fan. That's all I have to say.
Awkward laughing at a car being stolen.
Honestly, her, like, useless, like, oh god, she was just useless, and it was fantastic. Like, she was useless at talking, and, like, talking to Dinah, and that was relatable. But yes, that's my crush, if we didn't already know.
Danielle.
Okay, I am gay.
What an introduction. I'm gay.
Oh, you're gonna fit in just fine with this group chat.
No, guys. Okay. So, my crush is every woman in this movie.
Fair.
But mostly
That's fair.
Mary. And then also Journey. And then also Margot. And, Rosie. Rosie's also good. Yeah, that's it. Because I just wanted to come out as gay.
Well, we're very proud of you and we love you here.
Thank you
Oh,
so
yeah.
much. I feel so accepted.
Uh,
Genuinely.
No, I'm being serious too. Yeah,
oh yeah.
that's one thing I've definitely since I started this podcast, I've definitely made the effort to have it just not be just a bunch of dudes like every other podcast out there. So I'm glad
I was talking about that actually with everybody. I was bragging at work about how diverse our podcast is and how we have so many great different voices and how difficult that makes it to make episodes because we have so many different time zones.
Yeah.
And it's totally
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't trade it for anything else. This group of people is we're the messiest, fucking but also the greatest group of people I've ever known. I seriously love you guys, and I'm never gonna be ashamed for doing this podcast with you guys and for it being such a disaster every time.
This is a great dumb party to be at, and if you like listening to us, it's probably because you like great dumb parties with a bunch of nerds.
Yeah.
And that's our rant right there.
Mm-hmm.
That is our identity as a whole. I just think about any time I'm in the group, I'm like, oh, it's gonna be a picture of Henry, just, I just know. I'm okay.
Artyom is just gonna throw
Every time, and it's funny. And Henry baits the fans too. Like today, Henry posted that picture of the curly hair, and the moment I saw it, I'm like, Artyom's gonna send this to the group chat for Dash and Danielle.
Yep, that's exactly what happened.
Every time I see a new picture of every time I see a new picture of Henry, I'm like, oh god, Danielle's gonna thirst over it. I know it.
Really important. He keeps producing these stupid ass pictures, and I keep stupid ass looking at them. So we're locked into this dance for life.
It's even worse when he posts selfies because it's the same dumb angle every single time. I'm just
Is it directly in his face?
no, it's slightly lower.
It's like lower than his chin.
Yeah, it's the
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Seriously, every damn time though. Every time.
Anyway, Journey's gold pants. I can't say enough. I can't begin to say enough. Her outfit is banging, but honestly, she's just so hot. Oh my god, she's so hot. It's like, I just love a serious, passionate little fuck. Like, I can't handle her. Like, and like, I think, like, if I'm gonna be honest, and I gotta go gunning for anybody in this movie, it's I mean, I think everybody knows it's gonna be Ali Wong because I lose my shit every time.
Which I didn't know this until today.
I just remember Nick just being like, I didn't realize it was her ex. I was like, what?
No. I meant I didn't realize Danielle's love for Ali Wong. I mean that too, but.
Yeah, you gotta talk Birds of Prey with me, because every time, like, I just can't believe that she just fucking walked into this movie as our ex-girlfriend, and I was like, Renee, what did we do wrong? How could we have this?
Our ex-girlfriend.
You were dating Ali Wong.
But seriously though. But seriously, it was so funny. Like, so I don't know if you guys listening watched us as we did this. So a few months back, a few of us, it was like me, Danielle, Amber, Dash was like along for the ride. This is before she was officially part of the podcast. We all did a live tweeting of Birds of Prey, and we get to the point where we meet Ali Wong's character, and I guess the first couple times I watched it, I just totally never caught that she was her ex. So I noticed it, and like everyone like jumped on me for it.
You didn't know she was an ex?
No.
I want
Yeah, I wasn't part of that.
Yes.
I wasn't part of that live thing, so let me give my 2 cents. How'd you not know that was her ex?
I guess both times I had watched it, I just didn't fully pay attention to that scene. Like, I missed the one line of dialogue, and then I just kept on watching and never thought twice.
Like, the sheer tension between them.
I mean, that was my guess. I just didn't make the assumption because I'm like, okay, well, is it like, I don't know. But obviously,
so that he's not the only one getting bashed on or whatever. Like, I saw the movie, like, you know, I saw it one time in theaters, and I didn't participate in the live tweet or anything. But I heard like every line of dialogue in the film, and I heard that line of dialogue, but I didn't understand. Like, I just didn't get it. And then, like, people were like, I think it was Danielle who was talking in the group chat about how Renee is gay, and I was like, she's gay? Like, I didn't know that. And then the Ali Wong is her ex. I'm like, how do you know that? There's a line of dialogue where when she sat down in the chief's office, and the line of dialogue from Harley was like, and the DA person, that's her ex. I thought that they were saying that Ali Wong's ex was somebody in the DA office, and like I didn't get it, and so I needed Danielle to explain to me what was going on.
If you don't enter the movie with the assumption that Renee is gay, it might actually, like, that's understandable, because like
that's
I entered the movie with the assumption that they were going to give that to Renee. I kept looking for it. I was like, okay, either they're going to be gay, or I'm going to leave this movie real pissed. They're going to happen, you know, one of two things. So I was literally waiting to relax, because, you know, Wonder Woman fucking happened to me. So I needed a minute to be like, okay, all right. So Harley's officially bisexual, and Renee's gay, and now I can enjoy the movie. Excellent.
Fantastic. When that scene happened and that line happened, I just remember, like, my fiance and I literally looked at each other and were like, oh, like, let me just, like, there it is.
There it is.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think it is one of the things that, like, it's kind of a disservice to the character that she leaves for the reason she leaves, instead of leaving because she's gay, because, like, that's a huge part of Renee's character. And I think that that's also probably one of the reasons why it's so easy to ignore her queerness. because it is kind of written into a secondary part of her character. And it would have been nice if we could have sandwiched in some sort of premise for her to, leave for that reason. I just think that, like, there's a knee-jerk idea that, like, that's not real anymore, and that's not a thing that happens. And it's like, gay people don't have legal protection at work in, like, the vast majority of states in this country anyway. Like, they still don't have it. We still don't have any legal protection. Like, I could have been fired from any teaching job that I've ever had if they found out that I was queer, if they didn't like who my partner was when my partner showed up.
Mm.
And, like, that's the reality of the situation. And I think that a lot of people don't think about things that way anymore. They think that that's kind of over, and that's probably a lot of the reason why that wasn't a huge part of Renee's plot, which kind of sucks because I think we missed out on some intersectional points that we could have got wedged in there.
Yeah. No, yeah. Good point. Good point. But I do feel like I love this movie from beginning to finish, and, like, of course, like, anytime I love something, I'm always gonna want more. So, like, of course, like, if the movie was, like, 20 minutes longer, like, 30 minutes longer, like, of course I would have loved that. But, like, the film being as tight as it was, like, of course, I wish Renee got more, I wish Helena got more, but, like, overall, like, I'm, like, really, really satisfied with everyone and their character arcs in the movie. So, like, as is, like, I just really think this is a really good movie, even though, like, I'm not normally fans of movies like this that are less than 2 hours, just especially because, like, Warner Brothers had that whole thing with Justice League and the mandate being of, like, it has to be under 2 hours or whatever. But, like, this movie and the way that Hodson and Yan and everyone involved made it, like, it's a masterwork of cinema. It really is. I'm not just exaggerating. I'm not, being facetious. Like, this is really good.
No, it's definitely something that the genre doesn't really even, like, deserve in its current state. Like, it's too good for what the genre expects and what studios that are making these films expect.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it could be a really cool direction for everything to go in if, enough people paid attention to how cool and important this film is. Which is, I think one of the reasons why we need to keep talking about it,
And I totally agree. And I don't mean to cut it short, but unfortunately my laptop's about to die and my wife came home. So I would normally do the whole outro thing, but I'm a little out of time. But this is definitely a great chat. I love talking to you guys today. I'm glad we rambled on for as long as we did. It was definitely a lot of fun. So I'll talk to you guys all soon. Thank you again. And for everyone listening, thank you so much. Have a good one.